How you doing? I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. This morning I want to talk a bit more about failure and what failure does for you. One of the things that failure definitely gives you is it builds your character. You learn by your mistakes. You know, even if that learning is by learning which way not to go, there's, unless you have a sort of a crystal ball, there's no real way of knowing which direction is the best one to take, right? We're all in the same position. We're all sort of trying and testing out new things in our lives. Whether that's you're bored with watching the same TV program and you sort of want to test out something new, for you to watch. It's as simple as that. We all get sick of eating the same food all the time, and regardless of what part of your life it is, we are creatures of habit, but we're also, we have to take into account that change is going to happen, and change happens regardless of what we do. So we do change. So every time you fail, you learn something either about the direction not to go, or you learn something about yourself, or you learn something about the direction that you should be going. There's always an opportunity to be educated in failure, As I said before in lots of different videos, everybody fails. It is the part of the process, it's not a be all and end all. You shouldn't just go, well, that's it, I'm done with that now, I failed, I can't go on. There's no point in me trying because every time I try I fail. And that's the nature of the beast, unfortunately, unless you're super lucky and you come across the ideal situation in the first place, in your first attempt at doing something. Most of us are not like that. We have to try and keep going and failing, trying and failing and trying and failing until eventually we try something and we have success. And sometimes that success might not stick. Now, I'm not talking about failure I am talking about failure in quitting drinking, but hopefully, this whole process, as I've said, is about moving away from what you don't want and moving towards what you do want, right? Stop focusing on the problem and start focusing your mind on the solution instead of the problem. And once you keep doing that, you're focusing on things that are going to improve your life, So as you go through this process, you have to understand that each failure represents an opportunity to learn something, right? As I say, whether that learning is which direction you shouldn't take or which direction you should take, whether it's learning something about yourself or something about your abilities, your capabilities, learning something about the people around you, learning something about what you're not good at and which areas of your life you need to build. And it builds courage as well. Think about, when you keep pushing forwards and you keep doing the same thing, you keep, regardless of what happens, you fail and then you get up and you alter something and you try it a little bit differently the next time. Obviously if you fail and you stand back up and you try and do things exactly the same way again, it means you haven't learned anything, All education is about behavior change. All learning is about behavior change. Personal learning. If you haven't learned anything, then, if your behavior hasn't changed, then you definitely haven't learned anything. And that's the whole point. You're trying to progress yourself. And if you, as I say, get back up and do exactly the same thing again, I think it was Einstein that said that you can't solve a problem by trying to tackle it from the same state of mind as you caused the problem. And it's a similar sort of an instance here. You can't keep going backwards to the same situation where you failed, standing back up again and doing the same things and hoping for a different outcome. That's not going to happen. You have to sort of sit down and think, well, what went wrong? And get up and try again. And that builds courage, that builds your confidence in yourself. It's all perspective. You have to look at failure from a different perspective, as it's not a failure, it's just a diversion. You've tried something new. Edison said that each light bulb that failed was another one that he never had to try again, was one that was struck off. So he knew that eventually, if he kept trying and trying and trying, he would get to the light bulb that worked, and he did, and changed history. It's the same thing with your personal life. If you try something, it fails, you get up, think about it, make a small little iteration in what you're doing, little change in what you're doing, and then try again. And every time you do this, you make yourself a little bit stronger, you get yourself a little bit further towards your goal, the person you want to be. And as I say, this is exactly the same for quitting drinking or moving yourself towards your new goals. Quitting drinking is over in 1 second. I keep saying that over and over again. Regardless of what way you look at this, the drinking is not the problem, it's the lifestyle that you've built up around your drinking that is the problem. So if you quit drinking and you keep going back to the same pubs that you were going to and try and lead the same lifestyle that you were leading before, then you're going to go back into that cycle again. It's a thing called habit gravity, which is, when you see the space shuttle going up, and it takes so much power to get that space shuttle out of the Earth's atmosphere, out of the gravitational pull of the Earth. And then once it's out there, it maintains that same speed that it's going at, because there's nothing to hold it back. There's it reaches you can push forward and the velocity is already there. So it's the same thing with your habits, right? It takes a lot of energy in the first days and weeks, first couple of months especially, first few weeks especially I should say, and then it gradually decreases the amount of energy that you have to put into this. And it is that habit gravity that's keeping you pulling back. Now you add to that gravity by staying with the same people who are drinking, are encouraging you to drink, going to the same environments that are causing you to drink, thinking the same thoughts that are causing you to drink, all this kind of stuff. And you escape that, you help yourself by changing the framework, changing the underlying, what's going on underneath, changing all that environmental stuff, all those people stuff, I mean, you don't have to get rid of everyone. You don't have to get rid of people in your life. You have to sort of bring them down, sort of put them to one side for a while you deal with yourself, while you help yourself. That's the whole point of this, But failure definitely brings courage, because once you stand up and try again, and you say, I'm refusing to stop, this is just a stepping stone in my journey, this is a part of the natural process, then because you're looking at it in this different way, you are basically building an internal courage, a resilience to failure, You see things differently. Another part of failing, or of going through this process of trying something and it not working, and trying something else and it not working, this sort of builds your creativity muscles. It encourages you to experiment and to try new things, you know, because you have to sort of think about this. You have to sort of think, well, you know, shit, that didn't work, you know, that thing didn't work. What I did that time didn't work. So what am I going to try now? You know, whatever it is that you're doing, and hopefully, as I say, it's towards a goal that you're aiming towards, you know, whether it's a short-term goal, long-term goal, you know, it's something that means, you know, you have a goal which is, it and alcohol are mutually exclusive. They don't work together. So you either go towards the goal or you go back to the alcohol. That's basically the whole system, right? And you want a goal which is strong enough that's going to pull you away from the alcohol. It's, you know, strong enough that it's got a stronger pull in you than the alcohol has got a backward pull. And when you are going through these iterations of trying something and it not working, trying something else and not working, you have to get a bit creative in what you're thinking. So there's 3 areas where this whole cycle of trying and this particular iteration is not working out, trying and this particular iteration is not working out. You know, you learn a lot from the whole process. You learn a lot about yourself, about the journey, about where you want to go. Maybe you learn a lot about your end goals, and, you know, do you want to tweak them? Do you want to sort of break the goal that you're heading towards into a couple of smaller goals so that they're not so big? You know, think about all this kind of stuff. It also teaches you courage. It builds courage inside you, because every time you get up and try again, you're sort of, you're not giving in and you're pushing forward, you're getting more confidence in yourself. And it encourages experimentation, gets you to think creatively about yourself. The more creatively you can think about yourself, the easier it's going to be to think creatively in the future, to experiment, and, you know, to have the courage to experiment. You learn more, and it's all a big cycle. So, you know, carry on, try and don't look at failure as a bad thing. You know, failure is a good thing. Failure is a good thing in your life. It builds forward momentum. It's what all success is made of, you know. All successful people have to go through the same thing, you know. So don't take it personally. Don't, you know, give up. Don't think that a failure makes you a failure, because it doesn't, right? A failure is what it is. It's sort of something that you tried and it didn't work. And like I say, we all go through that thing. So if you have any questions at all, leave them down below in the comments section. Come on over to the website. If you want a free course on relaxation and de-stressing, then sign up for the newsletter if you haven't signed up already. This is one of the courses, or one of the videos that I'm going through now, which is part of the 365 videos that I'm trying to do, that I'm going to do this year, one every day. And until next time, keep positive, keep those failures in perspective. Remember that each failure is just a step in the process. It's a step in the right direction. Every time you fail, it's kind of leading you down a better road. It's sort of pointing something out to you which is not working, and you make a little change and you go forward from there. So I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Onwards and upwards.